Well, guys, welcome. It's April. That means lots of showers and supposedly Mayflowers or flooding, depending on your perception or your region. But
Thumb pumps.
yeah, yeah, right. The need for some pumps. But at any rate, we are at least on an upward trend towards warm weather, so we can all say that's a good thing. So nice to see you guys again. And in terms of announcements, I have a few that I want to bring up. First and foremost, upcoming events. The great thing about April is now we really start to get rocking with events. Now the weather's improving. So, in fact, leading up on this coming weekend, April 12th, is the Vintage Radio and Communications Museum of Connecticut swap meet. And that's, I think, on a Saturday and goes from 8 to 1 o'clock. So think of it as you're warming up to our event in May. Um, and then in Ossipee, New Hampshire, these are the Lakes Region Spring Ham Fest on the same day, on April 12th, from 8 to 1. So if you live up there and rather do some ham fest, look no further than Ossipee, New Hampshire. And last but not least, the Flea at MIT, its first Swap Fest for 2025 is this April 20th. So just over about a week and a half away. So Tom, I'm not sure if we'll find you there sleeping in your truck. But, in case you're there, it's from the usual 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And so that covers the announcements. Well, actually, maybe a couple other things worth noting um, is, of course, our next event is May 17th. So if you aren't getting yourselves ready, start thinking about getting yourself a table. In fact, I'll be posting our first table assignment in the not too distant future because Al Perkis gave me an email with the first table assignment. So that's actually good news. Always encouraging when I do that first table assignment. I know things are starting to get rolling here for the next event. Um, so if you're thinking about buying a table, there should be plenty of tables available, but think about doing that. And last but not least, I just want to say a few sad words about the passing of Merrill Bancroft, who saw that Bruce Phillips had announced over Hoops.io. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to know Merrill the way many of you had a opportunity to do so. I've met him, I've spoken to him, and I know when I've spoken to him over email, he's a very nice, polite person. And I know he had one of the finest early vintage radio collections in the area, if not the country. And and I think in many respects, I think Len, you're like kinsman with him because of your Rhode Island collection being a segment of the overall, and you have a fabulous collection. Just look at your website. And and he had a couple of open houses that members attended. Unfortunately, I missed it because I had a personal commitment, so I couldn't stop by after our swap meet in Brookline because it was after the show. And I reached out to Merrill saying if I ever get a chance, maybe we could coordinate a date. I could swing by and maybe take some photos because there's so much there for people to see. But sadly, it never materialized. And fortunately, we lost another good longtime member, and he'll be missed for all his contributions. And I'm sure a lot of you saw his responses to emails, oftentimes in the vintage radio, the really early radio kind of subjects. So Merrill was always pretty active in our group's IO, so he'll be missed. And certainly, we'll be thinking of him. And hopefully he's out there playing with his old radios and in the afterlife. But at any rate, that's I think the last announcement I think I need to make. Do any of you have any announcements you'd like to make that I haven't covered in some way, some other events or things we should be aware of? Okay, I'll take that as a resounding no. And quick, by the way, let me do a quick shout out to hello, Bob Bennett and Claire. Nice to have you. This is Claire's first Zoom meeting, as far as I'm aware. And nice to have you. And Claire recently joined, and she's been selling off a lot of our father's collection of vintage radios, radio parts, restoration parts. She had a table at our recent show in Castleton, and she met, hopefully networked a lot of good people, and hopefully she'll start be able to over time sell some of those items. Um, and she's been posting some of those. She's a photographer, so you've seen the photographs she's done. She, her photographs of the items of the collection are far better than any of us have ever posted before. So you can tell we're in the midst of a professional. So, but thank you, Claire. Nice to have you. And but at any rate, I think that is it. So I think we can sort of just kick things off with the round robin here, and I'm just going to arbitrarily pick on people here. You know what, David, I'm going to start you off because we have so we're going to have some photos we're going to share, which I will share on your behalf, and um, of things in his collection. And just let me get the email up, make sure I've got it, and I will share my screen just in a moment. Uh, we go. All right. All right. Here we go. So let me share my screen. Guys, let me know if you guys all see this?
Yep.
All right. So David, I'm going to let you do the narrative, and you just let me know when you want me to advance the photos. Tell us about this interesting collection of yours.
Yeah, they say that anybody that has more of one thing has a collection. And I think when I first got interested in vintage radios, probably 25 or 30 years ago, um, the book radios really caught my fascination. And so I ended up with quite a grouping of book radios. So John's going to go through them. I'll try not to stay on one very long because I don't want to take up very much time. But
Oh, no problem.
this is an RCA Victor, and I've owned two of these, and so I just pulled the description I wrote of the first one I sold, which was RCA had a manufacturing plant in Chile in the late 40s. One of the sets made during this time was this export model X11. The sets were made for 220-volt operation and were very fragile as the Bakelite case was extremely thin. Very few survived without some type of damage. It's an incredibly small radio, only about 9 inches wide, 4.5 inches high, and 3.5 inches deep. This is the condition that I acquired it in, and it had been converted from 220 to 110. So,
Hmm.
John, you can go to it's
That's
got the dial positions are on the right, volumes on the left.
that's terrific. I love it.
It's a
That
real cute set.
and it's smaller than the picture, suggests. You're
Yeah.
saying it's not.
And you can put it on a bookshelf.
Yeah. Bookshelf radios. That's what they're called.
Oh, there's the back of it. There we go. With all the guts are in there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Love it. I think this is the first one I've ever seen. David, you have a rare piece of radio history here. Especially since
It,
I didn't know they were made in Chile, of all places. Go figure.
yeah.
Especially that at that time frame. Must have been dirt cheap to make, I guess, at that point, before the tariffs arrived.
Why, why in South America? Why would you make this in South America?
I
Why wouldn't you
know.
make
Yeah, that's really interesting why they decided that, but it's such a neat radio. Now, this is all plastic. There's no this is the entire like main
It's all
cavity
bakelite.
bakelite. That's terrific. Love it. All right, here's another.
This is an Emerson. Emerson made several of these. I've got about two or three of them, and every one seemed to have different names. This is the History of Nations. Some of them are History of Music, but they're just great to have sitting on a shelf of books.
That is cool. The History of Nations. Ah, look at that. I love it. Open up
They need to make one that says a history of radio.
Right.
You would think so, huh?
The problem that you normally have with these sets or are the doors that cover the dial and the knobs. Constant opening and
Yeah.
closing really had a hard time. Now, I've taken several of them to a bookbinding guy, and he's able to pretty much attach it like it was originally.
Oh, that's neat. Is the does this dial face have is that lit as well? Does it have a dial lamp?
Yes, the dial lamp is lighted
Wow.
on all of these, I think, except on the RCA. I don't think it's lit anywhere.
Yeah, I would assume that. That's cool. The history of
This,
music. We're getting closer to like
yeah,
history of radio.
I think this is another Emerson. Uh, I think it's much more attractive on the outside than it is on the inside. This doesn't have a lot of jump to it on the inside when you look at it.
Still
Just kind of
pretty cool.
kind of plain Jane.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. But it
But you can
opens as a
all
bifold.
yeah, and bifold, and you can also, when you see the Emerson knobs, it pretty much identifies what it is.
Yeah. That's cool though. These
I
again,
think that the previous set and this set uh, are all 1940s sets. I'm not sure. They really didn't have model numbers, so it's kind of hard to look them up.
still so far things I haven't seen very often at all, if ever. Oh, that's cool.
Now, this is a Majestic.
Yep. Certainly a dial faces screams majestic. Wow, that's nice.
Looks like a Funkin' Wagnalls.
Yeah, exactly. And that's with everything closed up. That's really quite nice. Just very elegant. Now, is this what's the material on this? Is this all bakelite as well, David?
Uh, it's like a book. It's like
So it's like a
leather
both like a
bound.
bind into leather. Okay, that's gonna say 'cause
Yeah,
it wouldn't make sense. It would have been surprising to me if that were bakelite. Yeah, that makes sense.
this is
Oh,
another Emerson. This one is in just about the best condition, I think, of all of them I've got.
yeah, it's really in terrific. I mean, all of them are in nice shape, but this is in really nice shape. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Yep, things all closed up. Very nice, leather bound.
Now you're into stuff that's a little bit earlier. This is uh, there's actually the next couple of pictures are of the radio, but it looks pretty much identical. Stuart Warner, 1933, model R108, four tube book radio were sold as souvenirs at the 1933 Chicago World's Fair.
Ah, that's the placard.
Yeah. I've seen them in red, I've seen them in green. and there was supposedly one in a metal case uh, with artwork on it depicting the Carolyn Tower Hall of Science from the 1933 World's Fair. There's a few of these out there. I had to have a lot of bookbinding work done on this one. But the radio does play as well as a 4-tube set will play.
Wow, that is really nice. I love the ties to the World's Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Crosley. No, we know you're a Crosley aficionado.
Yeah. This is gonna this is interesting. I'm gonna go John, I'll show you this when you finish, but this was, I'm pretty sure, close to the last radio that was made with a Crosley name on it. They made some TVs after this, but this in 19. Let me go back through the dates. In August 7th of 1945, the U.S. dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima. On August 8th, 1945, Crosley sold its company to Avco, AVCO. On August 9th, one day later, the U.S. dropped the second atomic bomb on Nagasaki. And on August 15th, 1945, Japan surrendered to the United States. And on February 22nd, 1946, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. So don't forget that date, because that's the most important date.
Most important. Let's agree.
In 1956, Avco introduced just about the last radio to bear the Crosley brand name. I think it's the last. There may be another one. These were 6 different hybrid transistor sets, each with a different book title. John, if you go to the next
Sure.
picture, this is the Enchantment book. The books were, one was called Fantasy, another Magic Mood, the third one Enchantment, fourth one Musical Memories, the fifth one Treasure Island, and the sixth one As You Like It. They all had push-pull transistors to drive the speaker, 3 micro tubes, bumblebee capacitors, and they required both a 4-volt and a 45-volt battery to listen to them.
Interesting.
This is the last radio I bought because, all the radios that I bought and own, I kind of like to listen to them. But when you get into playing a radio that's eating up a 45-volt and a 4-volt battery, you're going to be spending some money if you want to listen to them much.
Indeed.
This is
oh, that's the entire collection.
Yeah. I saw this on the Radio Attic. It was several years ago that a guy sold the complete set of all the book radios. He said 3 were in almost mint condition and 3 were in good condition. And I think he sold all 6 of them for like $1,200.
And that looks to be Bruce Phillips. I kid you not, because BP, I've seen that BP on a ruler when he's used in the past. I'm willing to bet you that's Bruce's ruler. Now I could be wrong, but
it might be. Well, it's got BP on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I see the BP and I said, that's Bruce Phillips, isn't it?
That
but
must be.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that would be right up, for these rare.
Bruce is really kind of thinning down his collection.
It is. It's a little bit sad because to me, he sort of has the ultimate collection.
My God.
So when he's selling it off, you're like, oh, we've sort of hit this odd milestone of seeing him thin the herd. He's got quite a herd. We're talking, from a a cattle. If you think about like the old West, he's got acres of cattle that he's getting rid of. But that's really neat. 1,200 bucks. Well, that doesn't surprise me because it sounds like these are pretty rare.
Uh, you can find them. I think I bought the one I bought, Enchantment. It was, I think, on a site on eBay other than radios because whoever was selling it didn't really understand what it was. And I think I paid about $95 for it. But there's some on there for two, three, $400. I mean,
Yeah. What the market will bear, I guess the old saying goes, right?
yeah.
Well, that's really, let's see, was there another? Oh, there is. Oh, that's even a better photo of the Majestic with the 1933. Wow, that's just beautiful. I love the artwork as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice, David. That's really nice. That may be my favorite of the batch only because I love the tie-in with the World Fair, but they're all fabulous. Nice stuff. All right. Well, I guess that covers all of those.
Yeah. If you put me back up, I'll show
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, let me first stop share here first. Let me also I forgot to enable sharing for others as well. All right. So sure, yeah, do share if you want something to
Yeah, this was an ad that was kind of hard to pull up off
ah
the internet.
oh,
It's not a newspaper ad. It's an ad from, I think, some other publication, but it's an ad for the Crossley book radios in 1956, and it's got all the colors, all the different titles and colors in the ad. It's pretty cool.
yeah, that's awesome. It's in terrific shape. That's a, like perfect shape the ad.
Yeah, and I also have a recommendation
Sure.
for your nightly reading. This is a great book if you haven't read it.
Oh, I'm so mad at myself. I thought about buying that book. It was at a swap meet, funny enough. And I said, geez, I wonder if I should buy that. And I forgot to go back and ask how much it was for. I got distracted. So there I saw that exact book, like a few days ago.
Think about how many radios there were in I guess even the 20s and 30s and 40s. Uh, how many radios were named after people? You got Beta, you got Zenith, you got Emerson, you got RCA, but the Crossley were the guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Especially in the United States for sure. Well, that's good to know in the future. So you say it's a good read.
I'll check this out to you if you're interested in reading it.
Yeah, you have to go to the electronic library. You know what? I wonder if my local library would let me borrow a copy. I don't know if they carry such things. Probably it's, 50-50, but well, that's terrific, David. Great recommendations. Thank you for the terrific collection. Wow, I've never seen most of these videos I've never seen before, no less in one person's collection. So that's really terrific. Thank you.
I cannot believe that you picked up BP on that ruler.
Well, look at I'm almost dead certain I've seen the same style handwriting on the same ruler and Bruce's listings on eBay. That's why
You've seen them many, many times. It's that same ruler.
yep.
Is it really?
Yep.
Unless he sold the ruler and someone else has it on eBay. I'm gonna give you a Bruce Phillips original ruler, all autographed with his initials. Anyone in the radio world may actually want it. But
It was funny. One of my favorite stories was when I was early on interested in vintage radios, and flew. Uh, we flew to New England because my wife was born in Bangor, Maine, and so she wanted to go back and see Bangor, Maine. And there was a the New England Antique Radio Club, which has now changed names, but they were having a meet, and I'd heard of Bruce, and I knew I'd never met him, but I went to the meet, and It was in St. Stan's Hall. That tells you how long ago it was. It was a long time ago. And I went to the meet, and I went and I saw this guy walking around. He picked up a radio that I was really interested in, but I like to say Bruce had a death grip on it. I knew he was not going to put it down, and that was my first introduction to Bruce Phillips.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Well, you caught Bruce in his active collecting days too.
Yeah,
But that's
he's a great guy, though.
oh,
I
he
bought
is. Yeah,
several things from him. Just a great guy.
yeah. No, I've got a few things from him as well. Terrific. And he was a good guy, really good guy. He's sort of like one of the hearts of our club, really, because he was president for quite some time and
Oh yeah,
did a lot to promote us and move us along. But well, great. Well, thank you, David. That was truly interesting.
You're
So,
welcome.
but so let's see here. Hey, Paul, how you doing out there? What's going on with you?
Well, I'd kind of like an opinion. I got this Philco, it's a 41 235. My understanding is it's pretty common. And I have reached the point where I got to do something with the case, or maybe not. The cabinet looks pretty good. There's a burn mark in the dead center of the top. But other than that, there's no loose veneer or anything. And of course, it's got that tenite escutcheon, which has shrunk up and cracked in a couple of places. So I don't think I can ever get it looking like it came out of the factory. The It's just got the wear in the finish of the what 60 years, 80 years, I guess, of being around. So I guess I was looking for an opinion, but should I just kind of polish it up a little bit, clean it up, and just leave it, or try to clean up the finish and make it look a lot better?
Dr. Van Beek?
I'm all for keeping it original if you can. You know,
Are you
Yeah.
able to
you can
lift
do
and show us?
a lot with Howard.
See if I can get the lighting a little better.
Sure. I personally, I'm with you, Greg. I tend to be an original person, even if it has some warts, but sometimes they're okay. Let me spotlight this. So let me get this so everyone can see it better. Okay. Well, that doesn't look too bad.
No, it doesn't. That's the spot on the top.
Oh, yeah, you can see that little burn.
But I don't
Yeah.
think I'd ever be able to, it's beyond my skill set to be able to repair that.
That's why they invented doilies.
Well, you think they would have used one instead of putting a burn mark on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the discussion that goes up here, it's shrunk up and it's turned in like this. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to straighten that tenite plastic, but I was thinking about seeing if I could get it straightened up a little bit. But it's like I said, it's never going to look right like it should.
I just in my personal view of what I've seen of it, that cabinet looks pretty nice overall. I mean, I would leave it be and sort of call it, sort of a an attribute of the prior owner. Battle scar, exactly. Yeah, especially if it's a cigarette burn or something like that. These are things that, you see less and less of.
Yeah.
You could call it patina.
There was one piece of veneer missing right in this corner, and I've did a patch on it. It's probably not the best, but
Well, let's see. We're gonna bring it up there again.
um,
Well, it's not really obvious to me. Of course, the lighting is a little bit, but oh, it's right there. Oh yeah. Well, okay.
yeah. Well, it's not the same
Not
color.
too bad.
I probably will take this band that's at the bottom and maybe freshen that a little bit. I don't know, and maybe not.
still overall, it looks like, 80 to 90% of that cabinet is in pretty good shape, you know.
Yeah, it's much better than a couple I've got sitting in the room that are in the queue.
It's not like we have some votes for leave it be. It's pretty darn
Needs
nice.
to be.
Well, good. That's the direction I was leaning, but
I definitely, I know I've got, you know, some original radios that were in terrific shape. They have a couple of little like dings on the top. Somebody, either drop something, whatever, just like little divots, not that it's taken out the finish, but I'm
Mhm.
like, but I just don't have the heart to touch it because you can only be original once, I guess, my philosophy. It's a basket case, whole different story, but then I'm calling Greg to help me with the basket case. But I don't have a basket case yet in my collection. But truth, but I got email, I have Greg's email, so when an emergency occurs. But yeah, no, I think it's nice. Paul, it looks like a nice cabinet. When it's done, we'd love to see the outcome.
Okay. Has anybody ever tried to straighten tenite by heating it?
Yes, I have tried it and I failed.
You failed.
Yeah, it's a losing battle, Paul. It's not ever going to come back.
Okay. I guess I'd rather do that than just leave it than destroy it totally. And then I saw on antique forums where one person he made a wooden escutcheon to go in there, but his last sentence was, "I'll never do it again."
Well, nowadays you can have somebody print it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that. Um, but getting yeah, I'd have to, maybe my grandson could do the design
Yeah,
for,
definitely somebody under 30.
yes, yes. All right, thanks for your thoughts.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Paul. Good luck with the restoration. Keep us posted. But let's see here. Hey, Russ, what's going on out by you? Good. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. I'm good, thanks, John. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. Not bad at all. So what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, I just have a quick share for you and
Yeah, sure.
that. Let's see. Okay.
You're sharing over your computer, that is? Oh,
Yes.
there we go. Okay.
We see a Lafayette radio.
Yeah, it's starting to share, but it's just advising us you're about to.
Yeah, I may have some internet issues here, or really a computer thing. Is that up now?
Not yet. It says that you've started screen sharing.
Hmm.
So it's trying.
Fine. So I see it.
There we go.
Thanks.
Ah,
So
was this from our event, the recent event?
yes, it was. And
Yeah.
you may recall that
Yeah.
was missing, or it had a couple of wrong knobs, BFO and band select. And thanks to the generosity of Carl Nord, I now have um, two knobs to replace that.
Nice.
The other issue, though, you can see the knob on the right-hand side didn't have the trim ring on it.
Hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, Carl did not have one of those available. I'm trying to switch the picture here and having some difficulty. Um, let's see if this works. I guess not. Um, so how do I forward to another? I have everything is in one spot, but I can't seem to move to the next one.
You could try
Oh,
unsharing and see
option.
if and you may, don't be surprised if, there may be a little bit of Zoom contribution in here. I know that some of us, I know Greg has been hit with some more than likely software upgrades that are not necessarily for the better.
I Well, I can't seem to get it, so I guess I'll spare you some of the other photos.
Well,
Uh,
if
it is
you get it up, later, I can always circle back to you. It won't be a problem, Russ.
actually, unfortunately, John, I am going to have to get off for a Zoom meeting at 8, so I will be jumping off for that shortly.
Oh,
Long story short, I ended up machining a new trim ring.
oh, okay.
And got that squared away. And the other thing going on with it, which unfortunately I can't show you, the mounts for the tuning condensers had rotted away, and someone had put big hunks of plastic in there. And unfortunately, they had to enlarge the holes for the shafts for the pointers to allow for that. Anyways, so made some 3D printed used a combination of grommets and 3D printed elements and got that squared away. So those are what the pictures were, but guess we're not going to see them.
Well, we can always catch it you next time, and
Yeah.
you're welcome to share that again because you've left us in suspense here. But it actually is pretty cool. You made your own trim ring, so that's actually
Yes.
uh, pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good. Unfortunately, the hunk of aluminum I had was much bigger than it needed to be. So I burned through a lot of metal just trying to get down to the diameter of the ring, but it came out pretty good.
Cool. Well, then when our next round robin, make sure you show us that and more.
All right, I'll try to do that. If this computer will work.
Um, yeah, it can be aggravating. But when everything works great, the world is good. But when they don't, it's just a big struggle.
It is. Yep. All
Right.
right. Well, thanks again, and I am sorry to have to jump out soon, but we'll see you
That's all
guys
right.
in a
Oh,
couple of weeks.
thanks, Royce. Not a problem at all. So, well, hey, Rich from New Jersey, glad to have you back. What's going on in your world? Rich was out for a little while. I excluded him, not knowing that he wasn't on Groups IO Reflector. So he's been eliminated off our Zoom meetings, all at my hand. Sorry about
Uh,
that, Rich. But glad to have
you
you
don't you
back.
don't know how you hurt my feelings so much, John. I tell you. I tell you.
But it's finally we came to terms, and we're back together
Yeah.
again.
And you know what? One of the funny parts is I went to pay my dues, my NEVIC dues, and which I did, and only come to find out that well, yeah, we're all old people, but I was told that about 5 years ago I took out a lifetime membership. So you know how that goes.
But you have lifetime plus one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll pass it on to my grandkids that I don't have. Yeah.
Like,
I thought he was going to say it expired.
if Rich, if you did that recently, I could refund it off of PayPal, so it won't be a problem.
Oh, gee. Oh, thanks, John. I was really, that's the only reason I came on tonight, that I could get my $6 renewal
This
fee
is a
back.
shakedown. You came back, it's a shakedown. You want $6 back. You're never coming back again once you get it back. All right, if
Uh,
$6 means that much to you, fine.
all right, let me move along here.
Sure.
Tom Pereira, like to see you. So nice to see you, Tom. Really nice seeing you, pal. Really good. And so anyway, we had New Jersey Antique Radio Club had our spring Hamfest swap meet show at Parsippany PL 2 weeks ago. That was let's see, it was March 22nd, and turned out to be a good show. Our fall show was a bit light, but this one was heavy, really heavy.
Mhm.
We were actually overbooked, and we did very well. We did miss some guy named Bob Bennett, but he's on tonight, and he'll explain why he was missing, and that's okay. He's on the mend, so that's great. So we had an interesting thing happen at the meet, and I'll share it with you guys. We had a YouTuber named Crafter, Scout Crafter. Okay.
Mhm.
Initially, I didn't know anything about the guy. I did look him up, but he does a lot of tool restorations, and makes things, and he's a maker. Right? He's a maker. Interesting guy. But he made a video of our events within his own video. Um, and it's at 15.43 minutes of his video, where he visits the New Jersey Anti-Radio Club's swap meet. Now, the reason he did it was he wanted to see another YouTuber who happened to be a vendor, and his name or vending name is Fred B. Radio, which we've never had him as a vendor before. A very nice fellow. But he wanted to surprise him because they had done some business together, and he wanted to surprise him. So he showed up at our show incognito in some funky outfit that he looked like he was from way down, someplace in Alabama. And he had a wig and glasses and walking around with an accent you couldn't even understand. But he videoed all of this of him going around like that. And it's a lot of fun to watch. And of course, it's a good promotion for our club and our meet that spring meet. So if you guys get a chance, it's Scout Crafter, and he's at 15.43 minutes into his own video. But watch his video too. He's restoring some tools, and he's on a lathe and doing a lot of different things too.
As a trivia.
I'm sorry? Somebody up there? No.
Yeah, there's a yeah.
So that was our big thing. Otherwise, we're doing well. We had our renewals, which are always a lot of fun. Pulling teeth, but we always manage to stay over 200 members. And I know you guys are more, but we're a smaller club like that. So otherwise, just happy to be here. And all right, John, keep the $6. Don't worry about it.
Wow, I've never been bribed on live TV here.
What you can do, you can give it to Bruce Phillips because he'll be moving soon. He needs some money for moving, so.
Well, contribute to maybe purchasing his ruler off whoever bought it, But well, no, it's good to have you, Rich. Actually, remind me, but have you guys updated your website with the upcoming events? Because I'd like to do is I got the one you had, I think, in March on our website, but I think there's more that probably, at least when I last looked, wasn't listed because I usually list your big swap meets on our website so people who are
All
looking
right, you
for
know what
things
I'll
to
do is I'll push you our communicator. I'm sorry, our Jersey broadcaster, and that'll be the bar listing on the side.
Perfect.
And you can read about our swap meet. So
Awesome. Thank you, Rich.
you're welcome.
Glad to have you back.
Welcome to push it out to everybody.
All right. Well, thanks. And actually, since we're on the New Jersey contingent, let me just say a big hello to Bob Bennett there. I hope you're feeling better. Keep getting better soon. I'm glad, in fact, you're there visiting us, even if you are keeping a low profile. You're on mute there, by the way, there, Bob.
Thank you, John, for the kind words. I'm getting better slowly but surely. I may have went into some kind of remission yesterday and went to a doctor again today, and it's just an ongoing crazy thing. So I'll get there. I'm not ready to go yet. I got too many radios to fix. That's why I keep telling everybody. So
Right.
Everybody was asking for you, Bob. Everyone's who's got tubes? Nobody's got tubes. We need got tubes.
yeah, I noticed you quickly pawned off my table to the new YouTube guy. Thanks, buddy.
Well,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Nothing personal. It's only business.
Actually, I really enjoyed the video. I thought that was really great.
You saw it? Yes, it's fun.
Yes.
It's a funny thing, man.
That's
So
awesome.
I don't really have anything to show off tonight. So, but thank you everybody for the well wishes. I appreciate that.
No, not a problem, Bob. Keep getting better and look forward to see you back in your old self soon. But hey, while I'm here, let me call on Claire because I just wanted welcome Claire, and put yourself on off of mute there and go tell us about what you got going on. Also, maybe some of the things you might be bringing forward to the next event or things you might be putting in our swap meet, whatever you want to talk about. The floor is yours.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. It's nice to meet everybody. I believe I spoke to Richard Lee on the telephone a couple of months ago while I was making my phone calls to people. So I'm glad to see you here too.
Thank you.
So yeah, I've been I've been photographing things. My dad's collection, keep finding more and more stuff. I do have a few photos if anybody is interested in just taking a quick look.
Sure.
I think what I'm interested in doing is, you know, number one, I want to photograph things. Number two, there's a lot. I can't keep it all, but I would like maybe to keep a few things. And I'm looking for maybe if people are willing to give me a little time, take a look at my stuff. Maybe there are some people who are more interested and have more background in some things than others, um, to help me, price it. And also, I'm sure you guys come across a lot of stuff that is just not worth saving. And I hate to say that, but this is old stuff. And, I'm at a loss for really knowing what is, what one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? I don't know what is treasure. Some of these things are in really rough shape. My dad was a repairman. He repaired cameras, radios. And so, yeah, he took a lot of things in with the idea, I think, that he was going to fix them up. And some things he did, some things he didn't. And it would be really interesting to get some feedback on that. Um, uh, do you have time for a couple of minutes just
Yeah,
to
of course.
see some stuff? Okay,
Yeah,
I
of
think I
course.
can flip my camera around here.
Yeah, let me spotlight it here so
Just
that people,
going to work.
we just have to probably get a little bit in focus because
I know that would be nice. Let's see whether we can do that. It is not.
I do believe that's a,
Well,
oh,
that's disappointing. For some reason, it's not really focusing on that level. I can try it one more time. I'm just sort of flipping my camera around.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming
take your time.
it should focus, but it doesn't want to.
Yeah, that's very strange.
It might be
Okay.
because of her background. She has
Oh, you know what?
Oh, right,
Brilliant.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point. It's blurred.
Yeah. Let me
Good
see if I
catch.
can figure out backgrounds and effects. None. Okay, let's
Oh,
try
there we
that.
go. There we go. Now I think
big.
good catch there, Greg.
Yeah, brilliant. Whoops. Let me get back here. Um, okay, let's see.
Much,
Okay, so
much better.
here we go. So, I'm just going to show you a few things, and uh, I photographed everything inside and out so you can see everything. I got a lot of transistor
Oh,
radios like this. Um, I've got this nice, let's see. I have a really
wow.
nice, oh, that's a nice Atwater Kent with this
Yeah,
lovely little thing on the top.
yeah. Yep, I've seen
Um,
those.
yeah,
Paul, Rob Vincent is one of our members did a live restoration on a case just like that. Oh, that's interesting.
I've got some modern stuff too. So, got that. Got some record players here, which I'm assuming also go at the meetings. Um, and then I should show you some really, I've got cameras too, but I've got,
Ooh, look at that. That's some cool stuff.
yeah, that's a nice little thing there. And here's another little radio. Here's another one.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some
Mm.
horns,
Yeah.
radiola, Thompson speaker. This one is kind of lovely. It's in pretty good shape, I have to say.
Yeah, it is. The cabinet is terrific.
Yeah, that's kind of pretty.
Radiola. Yeah, that's a really nice shape.
Um, Couple of horns. Let's see. Oh, I've got this, some big speakers,
That's interesting.
hand painted.
Oh,
This is brand new in the box, although the box is in bad shape. I took it out. I don't know there anybody.
wow.
Yeah.
How cool.
Um,
Oh, sure, I recognize that. The
Okay.
Grundig.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Concert Boy.
That's kind of
I
pretty.
see this. Oh yeah, those are very good. You see those quite a bit, the AM FM.
Okay.
Nice radios, yeah. And that looks like a is that a Norelco or a Philips?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
It's a
absolutely. It's
radio
this
and a
one, the Norelco. Yeah.
yeah, those are nice radios. It's a radio and a shaver. No,
Yeah.
it's not. But
And and then I've got crystal radios.
wow. You have some really neat stuff. Your dad had a lot of neat stuff there.
He sure did. Pinkatone. It's a crystal radio in a little box with some headphones there.
So it
Let me,
is.
let me see if I can get out of this. And turn this around. Yeah, so I've been photographing this stuff. There's a lot of stuff. And I I'm gonna start putting it up in a Dropbox or something.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm there's a lot of stuff. But I'm working my way through it, and it's been fun. And there's definitely some nice little radios that I might want to keep. I'm gonna try to make it to the next show, but I'm not sure I'll be able to because I just took a job as or you mentioned I'm a photographer, and I will be working in New Jersey in May and June. So I will be working out of town on a job down there for 2 months, and then I'll be back in July. So it doesn't mean I'm going to bring all my photos with me so I can talk to people and maybe, communicate. Maybe if anybody wants to chat with me, I can stick them in a Dropbox or send pictures so you can see. So I feel like I can still be talking to people while I'm down there,
Yeah.
but I may not be able to get to them the next meeting. But yeah, that's sort of who I am, where I'm at, what my dad's stuff was.
Claire, what
Um,
I see the most value I saw quickly was the Marantz turntable.
yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. That's he's got a few more modern things. Yeah, I've also got a Marantz receiver, which I think I saw on eBay. Did I show you
I
that? And
did, yeah.
yes,
Now I remember.
yep, yep. So yeah, there's some modern receivers, speakers, but yeah, he got first interested in the crystal radio, and it sort of progressed from there. So
Claire, we have a member, Nels Anderson, who specializes in helping people with estates,
yeah,
and he will come in and give you an evaluation of everything. He will pick up the things you want to sell. He will prepare them and put them on eBay for you, and he will even ship them for you. And his take is half of the selling value. And he's done this for a lot of people, and he's very honest. So when you get around to it, you might want to consider that as a very simple solution.
was he working with Fran? I think he might have been.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
he is.
Fran Holly. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right. Hmm.
she
Yeah,
told me. I was in touch with her. She told me that there was somebody who helped her on eBay with a lot of
right,
stuff.
right. Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's a good option.
That's no, this is great. Thank you, Claire. Um,
Hey,
well,
John,
yes.
uh, Claire has convinced me of one thing.
And
I
what
need
might that be?
I need to get rid of this stuff and don't leave it to my kids to get rid of.
That's funny. That's funny.
Dave, I just love those book radios. You've opened up a whole new ridiculous area of collecting for me. I'm not sure I should thank you for that, but boy, they were just fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
They're
they're
terrific.
and one will come along you haven't seen.
all right. Well, yeah, no, this is some good stuff going on here. So hey, Noah, what's going on out in Texas?
Well, you got me with my mouth full.
Oh, well, I can We just don't need to see what's in it, huh? But
Well, it's not radio related, but
that's okay.
No, you're muted.
Well, let me yeah, there we go. He was unmuted for a moment. But so get that unmute there, my friend. There
How's
we go.
that?
Yeah, much better.
All right. So my wife has a cousin who has more money than skills. So he decided to do an upgrade, and out here on the porch, I'll have to do a flip around here of the camera.
An early American Weber.
A green egg
Oh
Ah.
yeah.
that was in disrepair. So I got it, spent some sweat equity time on it, got it all fixed up and operating properly and hinging and doing all the things it's supposed to be doing. And so last night we had some nice ribeyes on the new acquisition.
Now, is that a dial? Is that a dial face for a radio? I know it's a thermometer, but I was hoping you got the can opener, AM FM can opener. Why that could be an AM
Got
FM
this guy over here. This is
hooker.
pretty. That's all. That could be an Emerson or something. You never know. It's like,
Yeah.
but,
That's pretty
so
cool.
anyhow, so been spending my time on all those kinds of things. So now there's a green egg, and then there's a black Weber kettle, and then there's a smoker
Whoa.
designed and built down here in Texas, and then there's the traditional gas grill over there. So I'm all set up for all kinds of eating and cooking.
Wow, you got quite the lineup there, my friend. I'm looking enviously at that smoker with a exhaust sack bigger than a Kenworth.
Yep, exactly. So I've been away from the electronics for a little bit, but definitely not being idle.
Well,
So it's been lots of fun and very tasty as well. And so it was ribeyes last night, and tonight it was baby back ribs,
oh, man.
which is what I had a mouthful of when you called on me.
You're gonna have to actually FedEx us to all of us attendees so we can, enjoy the
Be
live.
happy to cook for you if you come on down.
I gotta make it a point then. Cool. Well, thanks, Noah. That's pretty impressive. The green egg.
I know. It's like, well, you can buy a lot of steaks and a lot of ribs if you're not spending the ridiculous amount of money that they want for one of these silly green egg things. I've looked at them in the past, and it's like, you want how much for one of those? But so when I can get one that was in disrepair and fix it up, that's more my speed. As you know, I'm kind of trying to lobby for, cheapest cheapskate in the club.
That's pretty good. Free is always key. Cool.
I'm always at the free table at those events.
Yes, indeed. And, well, you'll have to just come and visit us one of these years and bring a bunch of stuff, in a box and ship it back to Texas.
Exactly. Well, no, I would come up in my Ford Flex. I'd have plenty of room.
That's true. You can camp
But
in
it would probably be in the July timeframe because I come up at least as far as Pennsylvania for the Chryslers at Carlisle event. So, and then I go visit relatives that are in Connecticut. So maybe if there was something going on at that museum in Connecticut.
They usually have something in June. I don't think they do anything in July swap meet wise.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, because I haven't, in fact, I actually check our calendar, but I'm pretty sure the events I recorded, there's one in June and maybe the next one's like, I don't know, September or something like that. So it may go quiet in the middle of the summer there. But double check in case I'm wrong.
And then as a question or a suggestion, I don't need an answer at this moment, but if those of you in the group or in this Zoom club could, I'm trying to come up with I'm a model 1955 So at one point in time, I had a 1955 Chrysler 300 as my year of birth car because I think that would be the coolest car for me. But I don't have an idea of like what's a cool 1955 radio. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but
Well,
I don't have the depth of
I would,
knowledge.
well, I could throw out the Telefunken Gebäude 6. You like German?
I do.
you
So-
would have to find I would say go for an R600 transoceanic radio. It has to be an R because R was a 55.
Okay. Yeah, I have a speaking. That's funny because well, no, there was a different model R. I have a model G AMI jukebox because that letter G is from 1955. So I've got a 55 jukebox. I got some 1955 Lionel trains. I don't have a 1955 radio.
Now
So-
but there are many good options there. You know, you can even stay, you know, I think I like Bob's suggestion for the American radio.
Yep.
We know you like German stuff. You go ante up to an Opus 55. Or actually, no, actually an Opus 6 because the Opus 6 was available in 55. So you could even go as far as that if you want to, you know, put some big iron into it.
Yep. It's also maybe thinking in terms of some maybe early vacuum tube stereo stuff from mid 50s.
Might be tough because I think the stereo didn't show up until maybe 58, 59. I don't know if 55 was, it might be a little early for
Well,
that.
that would be okay. Mono would be okay too. I mean, I already have some old Macintosh and Marantz tube type stuff, but I don't think it goes back to 55. I think my stuff is like, yeah, 58, 59, 62. So, but anyhow,
Very good
food for
choice.
thought. Food for thought. Maybe at the next meeting, somebody will have some suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, the question's been posed. Might even throw it on the group's IO in case somebody, you know,
Right.
got some other suggestions.
Yep.
But then, of course, it depends. Do you want top end or just something really cool? It doesn't have to be top end. You know, I guess the options are many for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's, yeah, you can, cool, odd, eccentric, esoteric. It doesn't have to be like collectible to anybody else in the universe other than like it meets my quirky tastes. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily looking for some, I can't even mention what it would be because I don't even know, like what was the most expensive or most collectible 1955 radio. It doesn't really have to be that. It just has to be something cool, something interesting.
I think you could probably hook up with some nice Heathkit gear from that era.
Oh, Heathkit. I didn't even think of that. Yep.
I don't have the knowledge for specific years on that stuff, but it's right in that wheelhouse in that area of time. So there might have a possibility on that.
Yeah, I figured it would be post Art Deco phase unless there was some hangover stuff that was going on that lasted.
Not much by that point, really.
No, I'm thinking, but yet it wasn't quite really into the space age Jetsons kind of stuff either. So it's might be a little bit of a hole. But anyway, that's why I can't solve it on this call. Don't want to take up anybody, else's time here, but just think of, something that was cool in 1955.
All right.
How about a 1955 Oldsmobile?
No, wouldn't hold a candle to the Chrysler 300. First year,
He's a Mopar guy. He's he can't have any GM stuff.
First year, I could. I mean, I love the 66 and 67 Oldsmobile Tornados.
Yeah, those are keepers.
And
they are cool cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
But as far as a 1955 model, I mean, the first year of the 300 was 1955, and that was also the first year of me. So.
Yeah. Well, they were a fine car. Also, one of the cleanest lines they made.
Yep. But it was, it didn't hold a candle to a 57 or a 61, just technology wise. It was just
The
six,
dashboard alone is worth it. Forget about everything else.
6 volts and kingpins and 2-speed power flights.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it just, I mean, it was the best technology they had in 55, but boy, a lot of things happened in a hurry from 55 to 61.
Well, if you really wanted all that, you gotta get a 55 Rambler. That had all that stuff. It had kingpins and
No, that's what I don't want.
He's trying to go, get away from that. Get away. That's funny. Well, we will have to put our thoughts into your vintage electronic acquisition from 1955.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem, though. Cool. Let's see here. Dr. Pereira, how are things with you?
Oh, very good, very good. I'm wondering how many people here are members of the Antique Wireless Association. Put your hand up or wave or something. That's good. It is an incredible bargain, $35 a year, and you get a very, very professional journal called the AWA Review every year. And that is subsidized by a rather wealthy guy who contributed a lot of money to AWA. So you're basically getting this fancy journal for free, your membership, and you get this wonderful little, okay, there we go.
There we
The
go.
review is on the left there, and the AWA journal, which comes out approximately 4 times a year, is here. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of things in here. One of them is the All-American Learn It, Build It, Fix It class. Starting October 5th, AWA will once again be offering an AA5 3-day boot camp. This class immediately precedes the conference. And the idea here is that it talks and teaches you everything that you could ever want to know, and a lot of stuff you don't ever need to know about the All-American Five. Just one of the things that you find in here. There's some guy who always advertises that he's selling Enigma machines too, for whatever that is. Don't know what an Enigma machine is. They have recent radio-related obituaries here, and I just wanted to read you this one because I find it particularly interesting. Betty Allen, Community Affairs Manager of radio station WYNY, then in New York, heard Dr. Westheimer give a lecture on sexual literacy and the need for information on such matters as contraception and family planning. If you haven't guessed already, they're talking about Dr. Ruth.
Right.
And there are a couple of neat things in here. To a group of broadcasters in 1980, Ellen was so impressed with the talk that she offered Dr. Ruth $25 per week to produce a 15-minute show called Sexually Speaking, to be aired Sunday nights at midnight, which is considered a dead time. And it was chosen because the show violated taboos about discussing sex on the air. A year later, the program had been picked up by 90 stations, was attracting 250,000 listeners, was extended to an hour length, and the start time was moved to 10 o'clock in the evening, prime time.
Excels.
The show adopted a call-in format where listeners could telephone in their sex problems. An NYU professor required that students in his course on sexuality tune in. When WYNY offered a T-shirt saying "Sex on Sunday," you bet they got 3,500 orders. In 1983, it was the top-rated radio show in radio's largest market, and by 1984, NBC was broadcasting the show nationwide to 93 regional markets. Dr. Ruth lacked a conventional broadcast voice. Her German accent was described as a cross between Henry Kissinger and Minnie Mouse. The show remained on radio until 1990, when she devoted her energies to television and book writing. It goes on, but it's one of these amazing, wonderful obituaries that David Wunsch writes. And David is a member of our club. You'll see him sort of hanging around the flea market. You might tell him you enjoyed his obituaries if you feel like it, but he's a delightful person. And let me see what else I have here that might be interesting. Just going to show you a couple of pictures from the wonderful Friedrichshafen Hamfest, in which there are radios that are really quite extraordinary and I think quite interesting. This one, I don't know what it is. It is obviously a foreign radio. I don't think even John, you're going to recognize this one, are you?
No, this one's not jumping at me there, Tom.
Anyway, it's just a beautiful thing there.
Wow.
The Friedrichshafen Hamfest has about 20,000 attendees. It's in the summer at the end of June in Friedrichshafen, Germany, which is on the shore of the beautiful Lake Constance, wonderful, huge lake in Germany. And there are these amazing radios that you just never see anyplace else. And there's just one example of a radio that you would see at Friedrichshafen. Let me see, I'll just throw in a couple more. This is a B-2 British spy radio from World War II. The British spy radios were carried in an innocent-looking suitcase so that the Germans wouldn't know that they were spy radios. The problem was that on the right side of the spy radio is the power supply, and the power supply has a incredibly heavy transformer in it because it has multiple windings, allowing this radio to be run on 6 volts, 12 volts, 24 volts, 48 volts, 110 volts, and 220 volts. And so when you lift this thing, which is supposed to look like an innocent little suitcase with your clothing in it, it's so heavy that it's pretty obvious that you're lifting something really, really heavy. I think that was the main failing of these spy radios. This is another spy radio called a paraset, and it was designed to be dropped by parachute to the resistance fighters in France. And you'll notice that it uses metal tubes because to handle the shock of a parachute drop, it didn't want to use glass tubes. And this paraset radio has become an in radio for World War II buffs and ham radio people because it only has 3 tubes, it has an incredibly simple circuit, and there are now about 5 different people making paraset radio kits, and a couple of them are even solid state, which sort of takes away the fun. But on the other hand, you don't have to have a high voltage battery to run those. So it was widely used as in the resistance in France. The resistance listened to the BBC and learned about what was going on in the war. If you were caught with one of these things, you would probably be killed by the Germans. This is one of the most secret of all code machines. It is much more complex than the Enigma machine, and it was only used in Hitler's headquarters. This machine sold at Friedrichshafen for $90,000.
Wow.
And it's very, very rare. You can see everybody standing around just drooling on it. Oh, it was just such a treat to see this thing. Of course, there were a couple of Enigma machines on sale and being described to people. There was also a very interesting high frequency radio test set from quite early back in the almost the Hertzian days. Wonderful, wonderful microphone on offer.
Love it.
And radio station always on the air, demonstrating ham radio to the attendees. And here is on the left is the new owner of that $90,000 cipher machine. And on the right is the man who sold it. And you can see the big smile on his face. And by the way, at Friedrichshafen, you cannot use anything other than cash. And not only that, it has to be German cash. In other words, euros. So we're talking roughly 90,000 euros have just changed place here. And he's got his 90,000 euros in his left hand there, and he's shaking hands with the buyer on the right. quite an amazing scene, but that's the kind of thing you see going on at Friedrichshafen.
Oh,
Of
Sounds like a
course,
good place to come in and rob everybody.
yeah. Well, the thing is, the facial expression should have been reversed. I'm puzzled by that.
right.
Yeah.
So it's also a place to introduce children to ham radio and to telegraph keys. These are some of my telegraph keys on my table here, and a kid who is obviously enjoying the show, perhaps more than most people. And here's a guy who built replicas of very early radio equipment. You see a Marconi magnetic detector that he's pointing to there. And I'll just show you a couple of these other beautiful, beautiful replicas. The Marconi detector is a work of art, as
Wow.
is this wonderful coherer receiver. The thing in the middle there is a coherer, which has to be banged every time it coheres after it picks up a signal. And here's another coherer on a different board, and another item that he has built, and just the most wonderful stuff. So I will leave you with that as a teaser and go on at future times to show you some of the other wonderful things that you can see at Friedrichshafen. And it's not all that hard to get to, by the way.
Yeah,
Does that
no,
gentleman tag the products that he makes? Does he tag them as replicas?
Yes, sure. He definitely says they're replicas.
Okay, good.
Everybody knows him. The problem is, as you point out, Richard, that although he says they are replicas, I don't think that he has ever stamped replica on any of these. And just like Phil Weingarten stuff, it has gotten out there, and there are only a few of us who can tell a Phil Weingarten Audion, for instance, from a real Audion. And that is a major problem. There's one guy came along after Phil Weingarten in Germany who makes tubes, Audion tubes, but he into the press. The press is that little glass thing that holds the wires that go up in the tube. It's sort of a glass press. And into the press, he has, I guess it's stamped or molded or something, the word replica. So when you look at his tubes, you can see this word replica in the glass press that's holding all the element leads going up into the tube. But he's the only one that I know who has done this. Phil Weingarten, as you know from my talk on Phil, hoodwinked a lot of people into buying his stuff. And it's very difficult to tell a Weingarten radio from a real radio. He did a superb job. Indeed, he actually would borrow a real radio from a person saying, I need to copy something. And instead of copying it, he would steal that part from the radio and he would replace it with one of his copies. So he was a really bad guy. He kept a loaded Luger pistol under the cushion of his living room sofa to
And that
deal
wasn't
with
a replica.
that was not a replica. I don't know whether he ever used it, but I don't want to know.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and as time goes by, Tom, even a Weingarten, things just get its own patina as time goes by. The stuff
Yeah, the
starts looking
interesting
alike.
thing, the
Yeah.
interesting thing, Richard, though, is that I don't know whether you heard about the AWA conference, but there was a guy who really felt terribly ripped off, and so he brought his Weingarten radio to the show to show everybody, and then he put it in the auction. and he had paid $1,500 for it, and the auction price was $2,900. So, yeah, after Phil died, his copies have become incredibly valuable.
Emphasis on the
Amazing,
word
amazing.
fabulous fakes.
Fabulous fakes.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, well, thank you, Tom. So, Greg, I think you're next in
Yes.
the queue. So
Oh boy.
I can share, everybody be prepared, be blown away as usual. Let me share my screen. Whoops. Ah, there we go. That's better. Hopefully there we
Yeah,
go.
this is
Can everybody see this? All right, Greg,
that is a
you're on.
1937 Silvertone. Uh, um, it was given to me. It was all in pieces when I got it. Everything was in coffee cans. The tubes were all in coffee cans. There was baggies of stuff. There was boxes of stuff. The cabinet was all taken apart. Everything that could possibly be taken off of it was taken off. But this was a guy that he liked taking stuff apart, but then he couldn't get it back together again. So a lot of man hours into this one.
Wow. Love it.
The
I've never
discussion
seen.
discussion was yeah the discussion was missing both sides. They had to remake that out of well, made a little form, used JB Weld to build it up again.
Wow. That's stunning. I've never seen a model like that with the dial, with the rotary style station selector, I guess. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's got like a little telephone dial that you tune the outer knob for fast tuning, and then the middle knob is kind of the fine tuning. And the theory is you're supposed to be able to push one of those buttons in and just turn it right to the station. They had some special tool that you needed to set those. I have no idea how you would set them, but all that stuff is pot metal, so it's amazing it still moves.
Yeah. Wow. That's gorgeous. I've never seen one like that. And that's, of course, the usual magic that you do on cabinetry, no less the electronics.
You know, that cabinet was in very bad shape. A lot of the veneer was just hanging there with strips hanging off of it. And a lot of clamping and gluing went into that one.
Okay, let's get a look at there we go. Look at that dial face. I love the silver tone dial faces.
Yeah, that's actually one of those mirror dials. It's got the some kind of a I don't know what kind of a piece of metal or whatever is inside the glass, and then it's side lit, so it looks almost like a 3D effect.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Very classy. There's the dial backlit.
Yeah, there's like about 4 or 5 dial lights to that thing. There's two of them for the push buttons, and then I think there's two of them for the main dial.
Wow.
How do the push buttons work? Do they directly tune something, or do they do a motorized something or other?
No, it's all mechanical, Tom. It's
Mm.
there's the dial strings are nightmare inside there because they're all connected to the tuner itself, and the buttons themselves are kind of spring loaded. Like I say, you can push them in and kind of dial your way to the station. But how you would actually set them, I have no idea. There's some instructions, but it took a special tool to do it. And they were trying to make it half telephone, half radio, I guess. Nowadays nobody really knows what a rotary dial phone is, but back then that's
Mhm.
what there was.
Right. Just like the Philco had a similar, with their magic dial, but this one's built
Right.
right onto the unit.
Mhm.
It's funny. I didn't, I always thought it was sort of unique to Philco, but not so.
No, and they actually put the same chassis in a table model. I have the the table model as well.
With the same dial, the same control as well?
Same dial, same
Interesting.
control.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. That's very interesting. Okay, now
It's an
something.
eight yeah, it's an 8 tube set with the tuning eye.
Oh, okay. Wow, so it looks like you had your hands full. You had your hands full with this one. So this is a
Yeah,
keeper. I
there.
keep.
No, well, actually, I kept the table model, and this one is I sold already.
Oh, did you? Well, look at that. Lucky person. I wish it were me, but it's a good thing you're not nearby. Because
He's picking it up a week or so.
awesome. All right, let's see. Here we go. There we go. Now here's something cool.
Yeah, that is a troll. I think they call it a teardrop because the cabinet shape is kind of like a
Yeah.
teardrop.
Hmm.
And I think model 302. It's actually above my head here in the
Oh, yeah. So it's a clock and radio, but not integrated, right?
right. It's just a clock, and the original clock was totally seized up, and it's a sealed unit. You couldn't get it apart. So I looked long and hard until I found an electric clock from the 30s. It was that same diameter. It was very hard to find one that didn't have an alarm function on it too, because this was just a standard clock.
Hmm.
And so I found one in a mantle clock, a small mantle clock. We took it apart, took this one apart, put the face on from the radio and the needles on, and kind of built a clock to go into the radio. It
Oh,
was a lot of work, but
wow. Well, the results
I
are
think there's a
you.
before.
Oh, is it? Yeah, probably is. Well, let's see here. There we go. Yep,
Yeah,
slightly more tired looking.
yeah, yeah.
Those,
When I got it, there were no chassis screws. The knobs were falling off. The clock was falling out. It actually had to make a bracket to mount the new clock inside the cabinet.
wow. As usual, I was impressed by the results.
But it's a surprisingly narrow radio.
Yeah.
It's only, I'm going to say, about 3 inches deep, maybe 4 inches. It's not very deep. Just a real
Oh, so we had
tiny
another
little
look at
thing.
the. So is that? Yeah, I guess the clock here is the original one that's just seized up, right? I was just
Right.
comparing them. Um, that's a pretty close approximation. You did pretty well there, Greg, for matching something that looked pretty close, the original.
Well, the only difference is the original. I've got the original face on the new clock. The only thing I had to do is use
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
yeah, I just had to use the needles from the new clock, and
It's
you
pretty,
know,
yeah,
so
that's
so the needles are
pretty,
slightly different, but the face
yeah,
is the same.
I get it. I see. Very good. Great job. I mean, really great job. You know, some nice, tasteful dial replacement dial grill cloth. Great
And
job.
that's from 1930. It's from 1939, so that's probably one of the last cathedral-shaped radios, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah. Wow, that's terrific. Great job. Well, next year, this is an RC, wait, this is RCA.
All right, Emerson,
That's
isn't
an
it?
Emerson.
Emerson.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. I stand corrected.
Emerson with the Ingram cabinet,
Yes. Right.
and
Yes.
that's one that was just slathered with shellac.
Yeah.
If
You
any
can
of
see
you
it's pretty
tried ever
later.
moving shellac from wood cabinets, it's a mess. Just as a sticky mess.
I bet. Well. Look at this.
But they had
Pinstripes
those
and all.
nice pinstripes in there that you can't really see in the shellac version.
How did you do the pinstripes, I might ask?
That's actually an inlay. That's in there, and they
Is
actually have
it?
that color.
Oh, oh, so I didn't realize that. That was I was running the service. I could say, wow, you need some special kit to do that, or a heck of steady hand.
Yeah, no, that was one of the trademarks of some of those Ingram cabinets that Emerson did. They had those pinstripes
Love
in
it.
inlays like that.
That's really nice. That's really nice. Boy, that's beautiful.
Thank you. So
Oh,
that's just a
I,
few things that's been keeping me busy the last few weeks.
well, that's well, I would say so, but wow, the results speak for themselves. It's terrific, terrific job there, Greg. I mean, wow. Thanks very much for that
Thank you. Yeah,
sharing
that
that. Some unique pieces too, things I've never seen before, at least, you know. Um,
Uh, Greg, where do you sell your things? Do you have a special group, or how do you sell things?
well, a lot of them things go in the same place that David Spivey on the call he sells on the Radio Addict. There's a site
Ah,
called radioaddict.com. And if you go to that site, each of us has our own page and can list our own radios there.
indeed.
And sometimes I do it on the Facebook Marketplace or on my own Facebook page. And
Cool. Well, thank you, Greg. That was terrific. So, what do you think, Rob? I know.
Whatever you're going to show, I'm
Well,
not in control. I didn't take pictures.
okay. Well, then you know what? I'll show the pictures, and we can sort of co-narrate
Yeah,
this.
sure.
Let me just bring the pictures up here. Hold on a second, folks. All right. So, a little bit of mischief here. And let me see here. Is that um okay, there we go. All right, let me share my screen again.
I'm wondering what you're going to come up with here.
All
Well,
right. Well, first we're going to start with just the what led up to this. So, okay, folks, this is the Arizona Antique Radio Club swap meet. This is the first one in the local area because they did one in, I understand, in February in Tucson and not nearby. It's a couple hours away. So anyway, it's the first one, and forgive the finger, my finger got in the way, but there was I got there before Rob did. And so I took some photos, and the one thing that was noticed, this one guy was selling about 3 or 4 radios at $10, including the schematics, whether it's the sound manuals or whatever. So for $10, you get to walk home for something. And here was this, this pretty interesting. Um, this is an airline.
airline?
Yeah, airline. Yeah, with tuning eye and all. Um, this one, maybe it was this one that didn't have tubes in it. I could be wrong. There's one without tubes, but still for $10, yeah, the cabinet could use some work. It has some scratches and things like that. You can see it obviously on the right-hand side here, but a neat radio. But I saw that, I said, wow, this guy was actually offering some pretty good deals here, and whoops. Uh, and then he had this one here, this nice Philco sled radio push button. Maybe it's this one without the tubes and the airline did, but one of these two didn't have tubes. I know you looked at it, Rob. But at any rate, so so wow, that's pretty terrific. And there's a little bit of irony here, but I'll first show that this one he restored. So this one he was asking a bit more money. I think he was asking like $80 for this. I think it's a Philco, isn't it? Um,
Yep.
uh, and I think he was asking $100. Maybe he was asking $100 to see it restored. Um, oops, I did it again. It's a little sensitive. Um, and then he had this. The last time I saw a Vic 20, I think it was when it was for sale at the time in the box. It's pretty funny, a Commodore.
Wow.
So it was kind of fun to see
My
just
first
because,
computer.
was it? Maybe that's you in the picture right there. But
Yeah,
but
1882.
um,
I remember that manual.
yeah, but that was really cool. The fact is, in the box, who knows how much, how much use it got, but it looked to be in really terrific shape. But I thought it was fun to see. And like I said, the last time I saw one was probably when it was last sold in a store. So that's go back 40, 40 plus years, right? So and then well, shortly. So, and then there's another guy with this. This is Stuart Warner. It's at least a DC set, maybe AC/DC. I hadn't seen one of these before, actually. It was, in okay shape. It's all there. It certainly could be cleaned up and restored, but I don't think that was too particularly expensive. Some guy was, in fact, some of these radios, like, so to give, they were available for $10. Well, if the guy didn't sell it, he would bring them they have a auction table. So the club does, they have an auction table. They don't really have a free table, but effectively they auction everything off, and basically they start pretty modestly. Like something like this, they start for like $2 or $3. And some people walking away with pretty cool little things for like $5, and you're like $5. I mean, geez, some of the parts alone worth $5. Forget about the whole thing. Um, and and then here's the innards of it. That was actually kind of neat. I hadn't seen one of these sets before. I see a power cord, so it must be both AC/DC set. You can see the Stuart Warner label, model A6P1 or something like that. But that was actually pretty cool. Um, and then there is this bed, over the bed, hotel style radio. One of those big ones. See all the big labels. It was actually kind of neat. Not in the best of shape, but still fun to see with a reading lamp and the two U's with the 10 cents per hour playing time. It was actually pretty nifty. There is on top. Oh, sorry, I should have flipped see if I can do it here. That's better. Um, you get to appreciate it a little bit better by seeing it a little more close up. Telex, I think is what it says. Telex radio or something. That was kind of neat.
Yes.
So the first one I've seen, because I was so used to seeing, the Mitchells and so forth, but so that was kind of cool. And this guy had this nice Continental. This one vendor um, he's not cheap, but he does a lot of these radios are pretty neat. Some nice novelty radios, but this one is a Continental from the little placards, 1600 in 1957, sold by the Spiegel Company, which I remember the Spiegel Company because they had like catalogs. My mother used to get a Spiegel catalog, so it must be one of those, almost department store style radios. Nice color though. It looks nice with the cranberry
Yes.
and gold.
Dicker and Dicker of
Since
Beverly
it's
Hills.
Sorry?
sold by the Campbell Scott. That same company that made Coronado brand was making those the way it looked.
Ah, interesting. Here's a Majestic that needed some. I just took the photo anyway. It's missing knobs.
Coronado was sold by Campbell stores too.
By what?
I said that Coronado radio brand was sold by Gamble stores too.
Oh, okay. I remember somebody showed radios made for gimbals as well. There was a New York department store, and I forgot who showed it. Showed the picture? It wasn't David, was it? I'm trying to think. David Spivey. Somebody did. I thought that was really neat because it's did it again. Sorry about that. And here's I'm not sure what radio this is. Actually, the maker, that is. $45. It looks like it was.
Majestic?
It could be. It looked like it was reasonably restored. I mean, the cabinet's in very nice shape. That was pretty neat. I haven't seen one of those before. Aha! I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
So this is the point that so I just got to some of the tables and Rob shows up. He found me, and I turned to him and I said, Rob, there's a guy selling radios for $10.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it if you didn't push it.
I know.
That's the excuse, okay?
The funny thing is the radio you're holding is the one that caught my eye first because I was,
Yeah,
geez,
yeah, that's gonna be a fun one.
but it's a Philco, and I have a better picture in a second there, but there's Rob with his big $10 purchase he made.
Yeah,
That was $10, and it has the tube, so you didn't come away with an empty carcass. Um, but it needs to be a good cleanup, but it's in all there, and with some uh, what's the these are the B the cleaner. Um,
Novus?
Novus.
sorry,
Novus.
yeah, I think that's what it is. Would clean this cabinet up.
I think it's called
No,
Novus.
I would use Novus, but he was talking about the other begins with a B, the gentleman that Rob bought the radio from, but it can use like metal cleaner and so forth. What's the
Brasso.
Brita?
He said
Brasso,
Brasso.
Brasso. That's it. Thank you. I don't use Brasso very often. I use Simichrome. That's why I actually locked up. I couldn't remember the name. But it's clean. It's a bit dusty and all, but it's all there. Have you opened it up yet, Rob?
No, no. I've been trying to get my RV in shape. I last year I took it to Jerome on 89A, and the road had these hairpin turns. You ever see
Oh, I
the
know
movies
that.
where there's a road and the side just has a cliff rolling off it?
Yeah,
That's what it's like in Jerome. I was
yeah,
terrified going through there. So I
yeah.
took one hairpin turn too close and I scraped the whole side. That's what I've been
Um,
working on. I've been doing Bondo, man. I haven't done Bondo since I was in high school.
that's funny. I've done that drive. It's not. I had to do it at night. I did not
Oh,
enjoy
geez.
it because the hairpin turns come at you rather surprisingly, and it was a rental, and I jump on the binders pretty quickly. Unfortunately, it was a pretty agile car. It was a Mazda 626, and so it was a pretty. No, it was MX-5, so it was actually MX-6. I mean, so it was a nice two-door, actually pretty agile. But boy, it was like it would catch you off guard, and it's like
Yeah.
I said, I don't like doing this at night, and not because I don't like night driving. I don't like unfamiliar roads that have switchbacks that jump at you like last minute. You can't
Well,
tell.
there's an RV magazine that I get from an email, and they listed the 10 worst roads in this country for RVing, and I think number 3 was 89A going into Jerome.
That's fun. You take a photo and say, "Yep."
Yep, that's it. That's it.
But
Total terror.
but
Jeez.
but I'll move on ahead. Wait, there's more. But we'll do the drum roll a little later.
Yeah.
Uh, 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 but here's a nice Zenith. Um, like the cabinet looks like it was restored, nicely done. Um, this I forget what this was. It was like I don't know if we can get it from it's a little fogged up the dial face for me to remember what this is. Oh, wait, it's down there. Let me see if I can oh, move that down. See the AW, it says AWA on it.
Hmm.
See, I'm trying to look, come on. Or maybe I'm X. Wait a minute. Struggling to try and get the who makes this.
I can't make it out.
It's something Fisk, something. It's a little faded. Well, I'm not really sure. Sorry about that, guys, but that was kind of neat. I haven't seen one of those before.
AWA is a company that made telegraph keys. They might have made radios.
Interesting, maybe. Neat design. Let me look at this. Just even the grill design is really kind of pretty nicely done with the nice inset. It's actually, very Art Deco. That's for sure. And I'm not sure who made this. It looks British to me. What's not Echo? Um, They would come to me later. That reminds me of a British set. Um, a couple of novelty radios, the famous Globe radios. Who made those? I forget who made those. There are a couple of those. He had black, and they made a cream.
Where's a big sinkhole in the Gulf of America, huh?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I don't think I want to drive over there, that boat.
I don't think so. That's a little south of where you'd be the Bermuda Triangle, but maybe they have one in now in the Gulf of America. This was really interesting. I think this is an RCA. Where it goes.
I think it was RCA.
This went, I think they put it at the auction table. I think they're trying to get rid of this. I think they were trying to get like $15 for this thing. You could have, if you had the space, it's in really nice shape. And I don't know what kind of, shape it is. It even has down below is an empty storage drawer, but clock and all in really nice shape. Nobody was bidding on it. And I was like, I can't take it home. Uh, but that was pretty cool. Oh yeah, it is RCA Victor. Yeah, this is the close up, and this Philco, I think the guy, wait, I think he paid like $6
Are
for
you
this.
kidding me?
I kid you not.
I would have given him 7.
Yeah, it was auctioned off. I kid you
It's
not.
an
And the guy,
awesome radio. I got 2 of those.
and it was tempting. I can't. I have to justify this. I can't. If I get something,
It's got the whole floppy drive thing in the drawer to put.
I know.
Put your floppy 78s in there.
Yeah.
The guy who
10s or 12s, it automatically senses it.
I guess it's really, yeah, it was $6. I'm pretty sure it was under 10. I know that for sure, but I was like, I said, wow, I can't believe the steals that could be had at the auction. I mean, some things at auction were kind of, junk, but actually not all that junk this time. There was a little bit of stuff that could, was marginal, but they group a few things together, say $1, $2, give me something, get this out of here. Here's a steel war, a couple of auction items here. Hey, all more than salvageable. I think I think it went for like $1 or $2, a few bucks. These kind of things, which are good radios to start, and and here's Farnsworth. Not often seen, but all there. And yeah, see right in the dead center, Farnsworth, and again went for only like a few bucks. And there was this neat instrument, decent voltmeter. That was really quite nice. And the box, all the boxes in nice shape, the whole 9 yards. And last but not least, okay, tell us the story here, Rob.
Well, someone kept trying to tell me that I should buy it.
Well, look at the price on this initially.
It was $15. And that wasn't it. I just didn't think it fit in my car. So the guy says, well, I'll give it to you. I'm thinking, give it to me? He says, yeah, just get it out of here. Take it. So then I went, yeah, I managed to fit it in the car, but I had to take the car seats out that I have with my grandkids. They're piled in the front seat. And anyway, I could fit it, but I did get it in there. And it's AM and shortwave. And the dial cover is glass. It's not plastic, it's glass. So there's going to be a lot of nice surprises with this one.
Yeah, this is the close-up. Some minor little scratches, but I mean, $15 I thought was a steal as it were. And of course, I don't think I'm really helping matters by encouraging Rob to fill his trunk with stuff.
I have to have an excuse for doing something like that, right? So I get home, I'll tell the wife, but he made me.
He made me. He threatened me.
That'll work.
He said he will never let me in a Zoom meeting again if I don't take it. It's
really good. I like it. Now that I've had some time to really look it over, yeah, look at the speaker cloth. I mean, it's great.
I mean, it's terrific. And it's like, oh my God, this is. I mean, I'd love to have this, but have to ship it home. Good luck there.
What does it have? What does it have for speakers in there?
I
Just one
did
large.
see,
Yeah, one,
did I take a
I don't know.
there's another photo. I can't remember if I took, let me see if I took a back photo. Oh, I didn't. I don't think I did. Sorry about that. It has a pretty sizable speaker. I thought it was a good 10-inch or so
Yeah,
speaker. It was pretty big.
it's a dynamic one. It's, you know,
Yeah.
the filter.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what, cosmetically, if you just clean this up, it doesn't have a lot of like warts on it that you could keep this in original shape. And like we were talking, like we were talking with Paul's radio, you'd almost leave it as is, you know,
Oh no,
and
I'm
just
gonna
get,
lacquer it. I'm gonna sand it, lacquer it. I don't know.
oh,
There's
okay.
oh in the middle there, but you know, there's no verbiage at all on the knobs, which is weird. Doesn't look like there ever was,
Yeah.
unless somebody finished it. You refinished it some years ago. You know.
I kind of doubt it. I mean, the Philco is, if they did, because the Philco here is
Yeah.
looks okay, you know, and
That
I
looks
was,
pretty original to me.
yeah, that was my thinking. And then he had a $15. I couldn't believe it, $15. I thought, wow. And and the
I'm not sure if that grill cloth is original, but I think the cabinetry is original.
yeah, it's hard to say. You could convince me either way on that.
But even so, that grill cloth isn't bad for that cabinet. It
No,
actually
I
pays,
think
I think.
I think originally they had the chevron grill cloth.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was actually a 1 year only Philco with that dial. Just
Yeah, it's a
1913 had that.
38.3 or 38.4, something like that.
Yeah,
38.7.
38.7.
concentric dial tuning. I've got the table model like that.
That's weird. That is just weird.
Yeah, it's a different tuning mechanism.
Yep. Let's go back to the um yeah, it was really neat. And it tunes free, everything moves freely and all. And I thought, wow, what a nice radio.
Look
I mean,
how many K presets are on that thing. I
Yeah,
wonder if they came from the Midwest somewhere. Like
yeah,
maybe that was in Greg's basement.
yeah. If they're all okay. Yeah, exactly. All
Well,
case.
there's a WGN there on the
Oh
one.
yes, yeah, there we go. Yep, exactly. But neat radio and for free. I mean, free. That's
One of my favorite words.
for the $10, you got a pretty good deal for your price per pound there, Rob.
Yep. Build a car. Bunch of
and it's also from 1938, one of those Philco, no stoop, no squat, no squint.
Yes.
Reader's Digest version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a very pretty, radio.
I picked up a mag mount antenna, has a loading coil in the center, and it was unidentified. So I put it on the Nano VNA, and it has a 1-to-1 SWR from DC to daylight. It looks like. I don't know. I'm thinking something's wrong with my instrumentation, but I connected it to a handheld, and I can receive and on 2 meters and on 440. I have no idea what this antenna is. There's just not a heck of a lot to it. But wherever it is. Well, it's lost in the mess right now. But maybe I'll if I find something else about it. So there's been weird stuff there too.
Yeah, so I'll show it fast. Just a handful of pictures left. This Emerson was kind of interesting. This, portable radio, portable tube radio. I thought that was quite unusual. I've never seen one of those before. Oh, come on. There we go. Then you look at that. I mean, it was like, wow, you see the battery saver. You can see the Emerson insignia. Never seen one of those before. Neat radio. And there was, this is Mantola. That's what it was. And close up the front. And the Zenith. You can see the little bit of shrinkage with that. Whoops. Um, And this Packard Bell was kind of neat. And oh yeah, this Raytheon. I thought that was D. I wish it were an AM from radio. I might have actually come home with that because we had one at one of our Nevi shows 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I should have bought it. It was an AM FM, and I kind of always wanted one, and I came back for it and it was sold. So that was that. But this is just an AM radio, but it's from 55. That was kind of neat though. With the Raytheon logo, it's kind of neat to see that, fun to see. And this Holocraft is another radio I don't see too often. It's a little portable as well. He's trying to get $100 for it. And what maker is this? It says transistorized, so I believe that. Maybe faded. Can't read the label very well. We're almost there. And 55 is Royal.
There you go, 1955.
Five. There you go. Noah, it's yours. $80. Send it to.
It's way too small.
And the Zenith.
The doctor bag AM
Yeah.
portable. Yeah, that's got the same tube lineup as a transoceanic.
Interesting.
It's
I
got a
had this-
1L6 in it.
First time I've seen one as well. The doctor bag. That's a great analogy. It looks like that
That's
too.
why I call it. I don't know. I don't know what Zenith called it. They actually made that in that kind of fall alligator covering, and they had one black stag as well. Same radio.
It's a little more of a close up of this. This is another. I forgot who makes this. Was this Stuart Warner? I'm trying to think who made this. Forget now. Oh, well, this is the last but not least. This is this really nice early, probably like very early 30s console was up for auction. I don't remember what they got for it, Rob.
Not much.
Might have been $15, maybe.
Yeah, if that much.
And maybe. I mean, look at it. It's in terrific condition. Not perfect, but terrific. Certainly good enough that you'd unlikely want to refinish this.
It looks like someone stuck it in like a 60s stereo cabinet, for your living room.
Yeah, you would think so, but look at the ornate woodwork. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I would almost look like, Rob and I were talking about, we surmised, well, was it like a furniture maker? Because some furniture makers, had radios made, but this one has I'll show the badge. It's one I've never seen before. Here it is, Bremer Tully. Well, sorry about that. There's such an, is, a nice,
Bremer Tully.
nice, yeah, nice light there. It's just beautiful. So it was whoever had it had a full job, I know nothing about this, but wow, quite unusual. This is the last radio, by the way. But here's you can see it's got the badge, the BT badge.
It's
360,
TRF.
yeah, eight tube. I love the direct drive, dial at those. I mean, it's the back with the antenna. You see in very nice shape. I mean, some nice polishing. You could do a lot with this. Yeah, that was it more a little close, even more close up. And that, boys, is that. So if Rob had a Max, a car like Noah, Ford Flex, I mean the Ford Flex, Rob would have come home with that too, I imagine, right, Rob? Right.
No, my basement, I'm going to be tripping over the one I did buy. But everyone knows what it's like. You just keep bringing them home, right?
Yeah, but there was some neat stuff there. I mean, for small, a fairly small event. I mean, roughly speaking, it's about a fifth of the size of like or a quarter the size of a typical event we have. But
Yeah.
there's some neat stuff that shows up, here and there. Some are like, yeah, but oh hey, Pear, you joined late. I just want to say a quick hello. Before good to see you.
There was competition. A Peace Corps organization was having a Zoom conference because an ICE person came into the Peace Corps headquarters, and they're afraid that the government's going to abolish the whole agency. So they're very upset about that.
I
So
see.
that's what I was watching, since I am a former Peace Corps volunteer.
Oh, okay. Well, good to see you, Pear. Everything
Nice to
good.
see you too.
All right.
All
Well, I guess I've run you guys over a little bit longer than I planned. I apologize for that. I try to stay to 9 o'clock. Is there anything else anyone brings up before I close up the call for the next meeting? Because we'll have in a couple of weeks, probably can go through more of pictures from our Nevi event. Plus, we have some Wisconsin Antique Radio Club pictures, some actually pretty good stuff from the March event. So we got stuff we can certainly show and talk about next meeting. Well, then I better end the meeting. It was great having you all. Thanks for hanging in an extra 12 minutes. Thanks for all the great contributions. It was really good stuff here. So it was a lot of fun meeting for me at least. And wish you guys a good 2 weeks off. And looking forward to see you in 2 weeks' time. And meanwhile, stay well and stay healthy. And of course, given all the rain we're getting, stay dry.
right. Thank you, John.
All right, guys. Take care of yourselves.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Right.
Bye, Claire.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. End the meeting here. Boom.